So my story centers around my identity in Christ and how God used the Crew community to really mold me and pursue my heart. It starts with me sitting alone in my freshman dorm. My parents had just dropped me off and I had a random roommate who wasn't a believer. And I remember sitting in that really dark, claustrophobic space and I was just bitter with the Lord. I was comfortable with where I used to be. I felt like it was all stripped away from me. It was a shocking reality that I had built my faith on my circumstances. But the beauty of it all was that in all my changing circumstances, God is unchanging. In that first year, I really had a choice. I could let my loneliness and depression consume me. I could close myself off and just live in the lie that faith is this personal, private battle that happens behind closed doors. But when you cut yourself off, you're closing the door to the beautiful gift of community that God's given us. I feel like in college and even in our culture, we're led to believe that once we figure out who we are, once we figure out where we're meant to be, what our calling is in our jobs or our significant other, that everything will just fall into place. But this community has consistently reminded me that this isn't about seeking out who I am and my purpose apart from Christ. This isn't about putting on a show. This isn't about making friends. This isn't about what I can get out of Crew each week. This is just about Christ, pure and simple. It's about imperfect people coming together to glorify a perfect, holy, infinite God. I found that through discipleship and small groups, worship team, and even fellowship with other communities here on campus. As great as all those things are, they've always pointed me back to the truth that ultimately this is not about me, this is not about us, but this is about Christ. Without the community to encourage that in my life, spiritually, I'd probably still be sitting in that freshman dorm on that bed, waiting for God to mold my life, to conform it to my idea of what's best for me. I would be desperately searching for a way to feel spiritually validated and emotionally fulfilled, but always coming up short. You'll always fall short if you go it on your own. And that can be a crushing reality with no accountability or encouragement. Sin can become a lot easier to fall into. And the guilt can grip you to the point where you feel trapped in this cycle of sin and then guilt and shame. Sin and shame has this really toxic mix with depression and loneliness, especially when our culture and environment can provide so many easy ways to justify or ignore the problem. But the real beauty of the Christian community is that it's not here to condemn you, but to ultimately point back to the truth of the gospel and to show that truth to the